Are you struggling to query JSON data in MySQL? You're not alone. Many developers face challenges when trying to use the in statement with JSON properties. Today, we're going to tackle this issue head-on and find a solution together. I completely understand your frustration. It can be really confusing when your SQL queries don't behave as expected, especially when dealing with JSON data. You're definitely not the only one who has run into this problem. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked how to select all columns where the roles property in the JSON column contains any of the specified values. They tried a couple of statements, but ran into issues. Sound familiar? Let's dive into the details. To understand the issue, let's look at the user's attempts. They tried using the in statement, but it didn't work as expected. Then they used JSON contains, which worked but was too strict. This is a common challenge when working with JSON arrays in MySQL. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear solution to query your JSON data effectively. Plus, I have a bonus tip that will make your SQL queries even more powerful. To modify the user's SQL statement, we will use the JSON contains function in a way that allows for checking multiple values in the roles array. The user can achieve this by using the JSON overlaps function. This query checks if any of the values in the roles array match the values provided in the JSON array. It will return rows where at least one of the specified roles exists. If the user wants to check for a single value, they can still use JSON contains, but they need to ensure they are passing the correct format. For example, to check for just the role 1, the user can write, "It's important to note that when using JSON contains, the value must be in the correct JSON format. This means that numbers should be passed as strings when querying." Finally, the user can combine these methods to create more complex queries. For instance, they can check for multiple roles while also filtering by other conditions in the same query. Fun fact: did you know that JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation? It's a lightweight format that's easy for humans to read and write, and easy for machines to parse and generate. Pretty cool, right? Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests using the JSON contains function to query the roles property. They recommend two variations of the SQL statement. The first is to select all columns from components where JSON contains is used with an array containing the value 1. The second variation casts the roles property as JSON before using JSON contains. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. An alternative approach suggested by another user involves using regular expressions. They found that using the regexp function can effectively query JSON fields. For example, you can check if the roles contain specific values by using a pattern like $135. Additionally, if querying string fields in JSON, remember to include quotes in your regular expression. For instance, to find email addresses, you could use customer.mail regexp.info.contact.com. Here's a pro tip. Always ensure your JSON data is well structured. This will save you a lot of headaches when querying. A little organization goes a long way. And there you have it. You now have the tools to effectively query JSON data in MySQL. Remember, practice makes perfect. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.